experts are set to officially certify the 60,000-seater stadium of the Olymbe Sports Complex. Sports and Physical Education Minister today accompanied the experts to training turfs and main playground of the stadium. Cameroon celebrates its indigenous people on the theme 2030 Agenda, Leave No One Behind. Tonight, we zoom in on government's efforts towards the socio-economic development of this category of people. Incantation, prayers, and placing of wreaths on the tomb of patriots mark the end of Tete Kombo, the cultural festival to commemorate the hanging of Rudolf Douala Mangabel by Germans, closed in Douala today. Those were our headlines. Good evening and thanks for joining us on the Primetime News. I am Freddy Etabison. Stay on.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Welcome back. The 60,000-seater stadium of the Olymbe Sports Complex is on course of being officially certified. The training turfs and main playground of the arena were assessed today by CAF experts sojourning in the country for day one of the 2022 World Cup qualifiers on September 3. CAF's director in charge of works, Egyptian-born Sidat, was accompanied in the process by Sports and Physical Education Minister, Professor Narcisse Mwelekombi. Details with Romeo Nkenyi.
The pathways to be used by players from the mixed room to the main playground of the stadium have been installed. The lighting and sound systems send strong signals. The arena is well on course to host a certain Cameroon versus Malawi clash on September 3 within nocturnal circumstances. From a panoramic view, the turnstiles from the stadium's main entrance have been embellished with AFCON symbols, including mascot Mola. On site to assess functionalities, CAF Director in charge of works, Egyptian-born Sidat, evaluate the turf of Annex A, not leaving out its dressing rooms. Time to examine the principal field and its constituents, the 4 dressing rooms, a warm-up room for teams, toilet, the radio and television studios, medical room, CAF offices are all operational, including public toilets for supporters. Alongside Sports and Physical Education Minister Professor Narcisse Mwelekombi and Central Regional Governor Nasiri Paul Beya, the experts have also been enlightened on how work has progressed at the Presidential Lodge and cafeterias. CAF emissaries ended the visit in the conference room, now endowed with giant screens, with an organigram of the entire project presented them by contractors of Maggie Construction.
We stay on sports, and in our running series on the different stadia to host games of the 2021 AFCON, we take you to the Bafoussam Omnisport Stadium. The 20,000-seater sports infrastructure located in Kwekong, Mefi Division, will serve as the main playground for matches of the West Pool of the Continental Bonanza. Chancellor Nanze reports from Bafoussam.
This is the Bafoussam Omnisport Stadium in Kwekong, located 15 kilometers from Bafoussam town. The edifice was inaugurated in 2016, but has since then undergone modifications that have brought it to respect international norms. The pitch in 2017 was used for Cameroon's under-20 AFCON qualifier game against Libya and has been home ground to some Elite 1 clubs from the West region. The parking lot of the 20-seater stadium can contain more than 2,000 cars. Like any other stadium that responds to international standards, it has 4 dressing rooms, a media zone, conference room, radio and TV commentary booth, TV studio and elevators, as well as offices, among others. For security purposes, the different tribunes have been separated with iron bars. The sports infrastructure has been homologated by the Confederation of Africa Football, CAF.
Away from a sports dossier, political and economic marginalization, loss of land and resources, human rights violation, discrimination, unemployment, as well as climate change have been identified as some of the challenges hindering the socio-economic development of the indigenous people of Cameroon. As Cameroon commemorates this year's International Day of the World's Indigenous People, Ewan Epole reflects on development challenges faced by this category of people and efforts made to resolve them. His report.
Indigenous peoples have dynamic living cultures and seek their place in the modern world. They are not against development, but for too long, they have been victims of development. Commemorating this year's International Day of the World's Indigenous Peoples, this category of people in Cameroon are demanding to be participants in and to benefit from a development that is sustainable in order to overcome the numerous challenges they are facing in society.
Most of them do not go to school, are living either far in the bush. We are in the system of nomadism, and it's not easy.
Bororo Social and Cultural Development Association is working on the ground, first to sensitize people about the civil status documents. We are also sensitizing people about the climate change, because climate change has a huge impact of pastoralism.
Cameroon's commitment to ensure through the National Development Strategy, promotion and protection of vulnerable social groups is expected to help resolve the socio-economic and cultural issues limiting indigenous people's participation in development.
This year's International Day of Indigenous People is celebrated under the theme 2030 Agenda Leave No One Behind, Indigenous People, a call for a new social contract. Our newsroom tonight takes interest in what government is doing for their inclusion. Beatrice Ngum in the following report outlines some efforts put in place for the integration of indigenous people.
Statistics from the Network of Indigenous People of Cameroon on the socio-economic and political inclusion of the indigenous people into mainstream life are evolving as the advocacy strives on. The statistics show that indigenous people are working tirelessly to gain a place in society. As of now, they have engraved their footprints in the domains of medicine, education, the military, and communication. Government too is working next to them.
Many of the young indigenous are now scholarized. They are going to school and even to the secondary and university. Most of them, when finishing their studying, graduating, they are also recruited in the public service and other employments. There is an effort that the government is putting on with its partners for them to valorize their culture. Many of them are now organized into associations and organizations, and they defend themselves.
Between 2000 and 2001, about 300 indigenous people backed home a BA in diverse fields and 10 PhD.
In the northwest, the Bamenda City Council Mayor has disclosed that the Ministry of State Property and Land Tenure has approved construction of the roads in Bamenda within the width of 30 meters. Speaking during the midterm City Council session for 2021, Paul Achobong described the approval as a significant step towards the restart of construction works that have been suspended for months due to technical differences between the World Bank and the government of Cameroon. Kilo Valerine Salah reports from Bamenda.
The initial contract for road construction in Bamenda by the Soja Satom Company stipulated that works should be carried out within the width of 15 meters. The extension to 30 meters became a subject of discord, resulting in the suspension of construction works in Bamenda, with the World Bank, the financing institution, sticking to plans to compensate only local roadside structures were within the 15 meters.
For a project we finance, those who are in the way of the project have to be compensated, and they can only be compensated on the strength that the state declares that area for state utility. The Minister of State Property, who instantly granted us access to 30 meters of road width. By that we can assure all those whose property are within that framework that they will duly be compensated.
The senior division officer for MESAM has carried out an evaluation that will result in a compensation for the extended 30 meters.
Rigor in the respect of highway code is crucial in preventing road accidents. This is the message the head of the Road Safety Task Force on the Yaoundé-Bolova Highway, Colonel Agrus Noah, had for motorists this weekend. Elvis Teke was at the Ngalan and Mbalbayo checkpoints and now says overspeeding remains the recurrent offense on that road axis.
Human error, state of vehicles and quality of road infrastructure are the main causes of road accidents, but the human factor is the most dominant. In order to avoid a repeat of the deadly accidents on Cameroon's highways, the National Gendarmerie has increased its personnel on the road and acquired new equipment for road surveillance. Colonel Agrius Noah, commander of the Bravo detachment of the Road Safety Task Force on the Yaoundé-Bolova Highway, explained that emphasis is laid on sensitizing road users to respect speed limit and road signs. They also remind commuters to wear their face mask. At the different checkpoints in Galan and Balmayo, defaulters continue paying penalties for overspeeding, which remains the principal cause of road accidents and the most recurrent fault on the highways. While the numbers of drivers who comply with the highway code is on the increase, others continue to be reckless, prompting reflections on other strategies to curb road accidents. Why not deducting points from the driver's licenses of reckless and recalcitrant commuters?
In Adamawa, despite the disbursement of billions by the state for the rehabilitation of some urban and interurban road infrastructure in Vina division of that region, many projects have been heavily delayed in that part of the country. This was the major outcome of a restitution meeting this Saturday with members of the regional committee charged with evaluating the execution of these projects in Ngaoundéré. The meeting was presided at by the Vice President of the National Assembly, the Honorable Abba Alim. Details with Silas Nkweng.
Many road construction and rehabilitation works in the Vina division are at a snail pace, with most exceeding the required deadline. The situation is worrying as many of these projects remain outstanding or are poorly executed. These include the Ngaoundéré-Belel route, the Beka-Enat stretch in Ngaoundéré, and Lot 3 of the Ngaoundéré-Garoua route. It emerged from the restitution meeting in Ngaoundéré that the hitches are many, though the state had disbursed more than 10 billion for road rehabilitation projects across the Vina division between 2018 and 2020. The head of the Adamawa Regional Assessment Committee, Honorable Abba Alim, while evaluating the execution of these projects, frowned at contractors and terminated a number of contracts. Projects, he says, are also retarded by issues related to lack of qualification of some workers, inadequate equipment, and the problem of payments of contractors.
To conclude our series on the Cameroonian cocoa sector and meeting quality standards, tonight we take a look at projects implemented to make cocoa production sustainable and profitable for farmers and the domestic economy. Amongst them are partnerships with foreign chocolate makers and pastry chefs who have committed themselves to having a majority of their grade 1 cocoa beans sourced from Cameroon. Clarisse Aritakang reports.
Chocolate made from cocoa entirely sourced from Cameroon. It is the basis of the collaboration between foreign chocolate makers and pastry chefs on the one hand, and local cocoa producers and institutions overseeing the activities on the other. The project in its early stages is expected to attract more investors, amongst them French and Colombian nationals already showing interest.
We find a good qualities of cacao because we have a good fermentation now, good drying cacao. The greats of the profession in the gastronomy in France, and they say that there is a great attention from our customers who want to buy this cacao because our label Chocolatier Engagé is for the planters.
The major concern is to put farmers at the heart of any partnership agreement.
It is a variety of cocoa without defect, and the taste is quite unique. It is on the right path. As a chocolate maker, it is important to follow the process and have cocoa, which enables farmers to reap the fruits of their labor.
The ambition of cocoa stakeholders is to have access to bigger markets for both their primary and finished goods. Rural women are the recent addition to the list of those whose activities it is hoped will contribute in building the Cameroonian cocoa brand at home and abroad.
You are watching news on CRTV, and we move to the West region once again, where presidents of the Divisional Control Commissions for renewal of basic organs of the CPDM for day and noon divisions have invited their comrades in charge of the exercise to show proof of discipline and loyalty during the operation. Professor Maurice Twente and Sylvestre Nguchinge made the calls in two separate meetings in Bangangte and Fumban. More in this joint report by Che Tembok and Ngu Henry.
CPDM supporters in the Day Division and the different weeks of the party unanimously opt for peace, loyalty and discipline as they rally towards the renewal of the Bureau of the basic organs of their party. As the leaders of the different weeks of the party took to the rostrum in turns, they assured their supporters that enrollment for elections shall be smooth. The Divisional Control Commission head, Professor Maurice Twente, concluded issues by underlying one goal, which is that the CPDM is a party where fraternity reigns and there camaraderie is essential to build a base, especially now that supporters gear up for elections to select the local management teams that will conduct the affairs of the party.
The meeting brought together officials of the 9 sections of the CPDM party in the Noon Division. Senator Sylvestre Nguchinge enjoined the party bigwigs to choose persons who can better consolidate the achievements of the CPDM in the Noon.
They took engagement to go on the field and work hard to have the success in these operations.
The event, attended among others by Senator Aminatu Ngangube, was marked by the reading of the message of the Chief Scribe of the CPDM, Jean Kweti, the practical modalities of the exercise, plus the handing over of documents to presidents of the electoral commissions of the 9 sections.
We now talk religion to announce that prayers have been said at the Église Presbyterienne Camerounaise Orthodox Mfomakap here in the Central Region for peace in Cameroon and an end to the coronavirus. This was in a special church service during which the moderator of the parish, the Reverend Pastor Thomas Awonatsang, thanked God for the excellent results recorded by pupils and students in schools run by EPCO. Here is Tabot Nicholas Egbe with the report from CRTV Center.
The Église Presbyterienne Camerounaise Orthodox Church here at Mfomakap on the outskirts of Yaoundé was exceptionally jammed to capacity as hundreds of faithfuls are set present to encourage their children to study harder while waiting for the start of the next academic year.
This is the end of the holidays, and our reverend think that it is better to the children before going to school to come here and pray. And we are praying also for peace, Cameroon.
While they prayed for the success of their children, they however begged God to eradicate the coronavirus, which is a threat even to their own children.
You pray also about COVID-19. You say that it is a pandemic. We want that this pandemic go away.
The Christians prayed to God for their lives and celebrated with beautiful songs and melodies.
In the meantime, Christians of the Christ the King parish in Chinga, Yaoundé, are being offered free medical consultations and treatment for eye and teeth diseases. The initiative, spearheaded by a non-governmental organization known as Kasedia, is geared towards taking health care to the doorsteps of underprivileged people. More with Alice Mbe in this report.
The first edition of the free and complete checkup program of all the body organs, organized by Kasedia, Katem Sempa Dukulnatum, an association based in Cameroon, is to give health to the diminished and to assist the government in the fight against diseases in the country.
People have so many problems. They're sick. The another fact, if it's the money. You know, when you don't have money, you're sick, you live like you don't live. So Kasedia have put down this program to check the hand, like we say, check somebody's hand, give you help. Eyes program, you got teeth program, you got eyes program.
A gesture appreciated by the Christians. They have discovered that my tooth has a problem, and so I have to fill the tooth so that I can eat well. Activities to crown these humanitarian services include a football match between Reverend Fathers of the Archdiocese of Yaoundé and the former St. Teresa football team with a gala night. They also have a project to move to all the 10 regions of the country.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
On to our COVID-19 slot on the news tonight. We talk about COVID-19 vaccination in some parastatals and public offices months after it was launched. What appraisal does the National Immunization Program make of this vaccination exercise so far? Good evening, Baldwin Summer.
Good evening to you, Freddy Tabisong. It was one of the measures put in place by the National Immunization Program to have as many Cameroonians vaccinated against the coronavirus, taking a vaccination exercise to some parastatals or government offices. Let's find out from our guest tonight, Dr. Andreas Njo of the National Immunization Program, what feedback we have had so far from this vaccination exercise in some of these offices. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Good evening, Baldwin.
Let's find out from you what's the feedback after this mass vaccination in some of these parastatals or other public offices in Cameroon.
Okay, thank you so much. The first thing to note already is the fact that taking the vaccination program into enterprises, offices, and into the community was really a wonderful initiative, because within the short period from the period of intensification of the vaccination program, we were able to double the number of doses administered to the population. So we think that it was a very fruitful strategy, and that needs to be sustained.
A quick reminder for enterprises or offices that wish to solicit your services, how do they go ahead and have your services?
Yes, the first thing is that the program, the expanded program immunization, is always open to attend to the population. Now, at the central level, at the regional level, but particularly at the health facility, the district level, the vaccinating health facilities are available, the district health service managers are available, the regional delegates are available to attend to these enterprises at any time when need arises. They should just get in contact with them, and a team will be deployed to take care of their population, get them vaccinated as necessary.
Thank you so much, Dr. Andreas Njo. You are the head of an enterprise or a particular structure, and you need the services of the National Immunization Program. Don't hesitate. Have your staff and collaborators vaccinated against the coronavirus. Simply invite the team from the National Immunization Program any of these days. Back to you, Friede Tabison.
Thanks to your Baldwin and your guest, Dr. Andreas Njo. Curtains have been drawn on this year's edition of Tete Kombo, a cultural festival to commemorate the death by hanging of Rodolphe Douala Mangabel by the German colonists. The closing ceremony of the festival to mark the 107th death anniversary was marked by incantations, prayers, and the placing of wreaths on the graves of the patriots whose lives were taken as they tried to protect their fatherland. Littoral's governor was represented on the occasion by the Secretary General Aboubakari Haman Chutu. Scholar Maloke with the details from Douala.
The rains this Sunday morning in Douala could not stop the ceremony from taking place as traditional rulers of the Sawaland led by the paramount chief of the Bel clan answered present at the site where Rodolphe Douala Mangabel alongside his secretary Adolphe Ngusudin were murdered by hanging. In the presence of the representative of the governor of the Littoral region, who had earlier placed a wreath on the spot, the head of the Bel clan carried out some incantations and traditional rites, imploring the ancestors to be with them. These same rites and others were performed at the King's Mausoleum, where the tomb of Rodolphe Douala Mangabel is found, and at the John Joy Cemetery, which hosts the tomb of Adolphe Ngusudin. The 6-day event was placed on the theme Mulatako, meaning unity.
The important message once transmitted is the union. Douala Mangabel is a patriot. He gave his life to save this country, to save Cameroon, so that all children have to take Douala Mangabel as a model.
The representative of the governor acknowledged the theme as being timely.
This theme come and tell Cameroonian to be united, to be living together, and to be proud to be Cameroonian.
A major announcement that came out at the end of the 2021 edition of the Tete Kombo is the fact that the King's Mausoleum, where the remains of Rodolphe Douala Mangabel will be opened on weekends for Cameroonians and tourists alike to visit.
The 6th edition of the 2021 annual Miss Kanga competition in Ayos, Nyong and Fomo division of the Central Region has ended today with Mbida Dorcas Andre elected as the new Miss Kanga. This was during the closing ceremony of the holiday activities championed by a non-lucrative association, Nyong and Fomo Online, carried out this year under the patronage of Minister of Arts and Culture, Pierre Ismail Bidongpat. Victor Siga has highlights of the colorful ceremony in this report.
Mbida Dorcas Audrey and Kolo Toma are the two winners of the two major competitions that crowned the 5th edition of Miss Kanga 2021. The 2021 Miss Kanga and the Best Cook, respectively.
It wasn't easy. We worked for 2 months, and today I'm happy because it's just the fruit of my efforts.
Prior to this gala night, other activities marked the day. The organizing association, dubbed Nyong and Fumu Online, held educative talks with the 13 contestants on the importance of family planning, distributed foodstuffs to some widows of the locality, as well as didactic materials to some best primary pupils.
We face a lot of financial challenges and we go through a lot of trauma. Our children stay home while their mates go to school because we lack the means. So this gesture is really a timeline one.
A football encounter was also played between the native team, Pablo Ateba Academy in blue, and the guest team in yellow. An encounter that ended on a 1-1 tie. Rendezvous has been taken for next year.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Driving until August 25th. Subscribe to the heavyweight bonus at #111*0# and win all expenses paid driving training course to spend unforgettable holidays with Orange.
Orange.
Bienvenue en Kamer, feuille de Nebel. Merci, bonjour. Bon, le quartier de Bazogo et ton fils. Bienvenue, merci. Bon aussi.
C'est un dimanche et ils vont à la 3e mi-temps. Le foot, c'était le matin.